From the beginning, I have been adamant that JAX is not an actual human character like the other inhabitants of the digital circus. Instead, I believe he is an NPC, or non-player character, and many believe his antics in the latest episodes serve as proof of that. Now, the most recent episode of the Amazing Digital Circus swiftly utilized the initial part of the storyline to remind us that JAX is unlike the other characters. It begins with Pomni holding her breath, which causes her skin to change hues within the game. However, as she continues to hold her breath, the colors change more rapidly. Pomni never reaches a stage where she would genuinely suffocate, but she does eventually stop to allow herself to breathe, as there's a peculiar digital psychological barrier compelling the avatar to desire this. Yet, according to the characters, they genuinely don't need air and can hold their breath indefinitely. Each character experiences something unique when they do this, and JAX explains all of this with very particular phrasing, suggesting that something different occurs to each individual rather than something different happening to them, hinting that it serves as an Easter egg for human players, something that NPCs cannot even experience. This subtlety could also suggest JAX's status as an NPC, further distinguishing himself from humanity. His refusal to hold his breath after explaining how Kinger glows, Ragatha hair stands up, Noodle's stick up, Glee's mask rotates, and Zooble limbs straighten, raises even more suspicion. JAX declines to reveal his own experience, claiming he wants to maintain an air of mystery, yet this is extraordinarily suspicious and potentially dangerous. JAX is distinct from the other characters, not merely because he might be an NPC, but also because he possesses a somewhat malevolent nature. He perceives the game merely as a tool to be exploited for amusement, reveling in the simulated suffering resulting from his antics. This tendency manifests in various ways, with JAX relishing in creating stress and chaos for both human players and NPCs alike. In Episode 2, his ultimate delight stemmed from discovering a way to unleash the chocolate monster upon the citizens of the Candy Kingdom, where we can hear their screams of terror as carnage is unleashed. This may directly relate to Kane concerns when he articulated why they do not allow characters to bring NPCs back from their adventures, as discussed back in Episode 2. Here, Kane admits he struggles to differentiate between a character and an NPC, which is quite an odd assertion. He indicates that it would be severely problematic for him to confuse the two. One of the most apparent reasons this could be detrimental is that, similar to JAX, an NPC could learn to manipulate the game and even exploit Kane. The players engaging with the game typically do so for entertainment. However, an NPC can be crafted with intricate motives and backstories that significantly influence their decisions. In Episode 2, Pomni inadvertently awakens Gummigoo to the reality that he isn't a real person and that his entire existence is fabricated. This leads him to peacefully desire to continue existing among the humans. Yet over time, many of these NPCs, due to their more orchestrated personalities, may seek ways to exploit the system. JAX could serve as the ultimate embodiment of this concept. A fun, quirky character created for some entertaining, whimsical escapade by Kane, who was meant to be a troublemaker or a villain within the storyline. His original narrative may not have characterized him as a true outlaw, as was the case with Gummigoo and his crew, but his persona is rooted in a desire to create as much mayhem and chaos as possible. If he were mistakenly perceived as human, he could effectively reprogram Kane to serve him rather than the humans. Currently, Kane goes to great lengths to cater to who he believes the humans are. While Zooble struggled to persuade Kane to alter his perceptions regarding his adventures, the desire to accommodate characters like Zooble and JAX has resulted in at least 2 levels being quite intense and glitchy. Presently, JAX appears so heartless that he would leave Ragatha to die, just as he did in the pilot, and Ragatha seems to accept that JAX didn't seek assistance. It's as if he would prefer to return from the gathering the Gloink adventure to find Ragatha and Pomni both abstracted. Otherwise, why wouldn't he have gone out of his way to locate Kane? Over time, even without engaging in anything destructive, an NPC that believes Kane is human would generate a new trajectory for his programming if interacted with properly. This is something we already observe with him amplifying the adventures based on humans simply becoming weary of their existence within the game, necessitating more immersive experiences to enjoy the escapades which has led to some glitches within the levels. This could have also been subtly influenced by JAX as an NPC. Interestingly, JAX behaves similarly to Kane, in that both take the time to address the audience watching the show as if they can perceive us, something the human characters do not do. Kane exhibited this behavior early on, orchestrating the entire opening theme sequence for some imaginary audience. In the recent episode, after declining to hold his breath to demonstrate what would happen to him, JAX turns toward the camera and states that he is curious about what the audience thinks the truth is, resembling Kane actions and seemingly hinting at his non-human status. He might just be another AI-driven NPC, one who can seemingly see the audience just as Kane can, or at least be programmed to act as though there is an audience potentially observing the game. Now, one concern that some fans raise about this theory is that JAX appears to have his own room in the hallway of characters. Here, even characters that have abstracted possess a bedroom with their image on the door, signifying that they are real humans. Thus far, we've glimpsed Pomni bedroom and Kaufmo bedroom in the show. However, characters like Regatha have only had their rooms shown in merchandise, such as the enamel pin set. JAX, of course, has a door featuring his image, suggesting that he is a real human character. However, on his enamel pin, we don't see a bedroom as we do on Regatha pin. Instead, this merchandise reveals that behind JAX's door lies a vast white void of spare digital space, the same type that exists beyond the digital Circus game area, an area meant for crafting further adventures and locations for players. To some, this merely implies that JAX is a hacker who discovered a means to access the digital void from his room, potentially playing a significant role in some wild escapades later on. For others, however, it indicates that there's no room behind there. After all, there are doors with blank mannequin faces that do not seem to acquire a character face until a new player enters, as seen with Pomni. It stands to reason that behind those doors, all we would observe is blank digital space, something that can be reprogrammed into a personalized room, as observed with Pomni and Kaufmo. Until then, it remains nothing more than white code. All JAX would need is an image of himself to place over the original, and everyone would assume he has a bedroom just like they do. They likely don't even want to venture inside and would assume someone else has seen him utilize the door at some point, yet he probably doesn't. Kinger has a permanent pillow in the circus lobby area, where he seems to enjoy staying with his wife so that they can share a space they created together. Even after she was abstracted, he continues to reside there instead of socializing in his room like the others appear to. Similarly, JAX may never actually go to his room. He could simply be lurking in another section of the circus, engaging in random antics and waiting for others to awaken, scheming what he will do next to them. As an NPC, he doesn't need to rest the way the others believe they need to, even though they don't need to sleep in the game at all. Of course, the others like to sleep as it simulates an experience they remember from their human lives, but an NPC like JAX would lack any genuine memories of that, and wouldn't yearn for it the way the others do. He would simply have more time to plot his wicked schemes. Now, one frequent argument I encounter against this theory is that we do know JAX's age, as listed by Gooseworx, along with all the other characters. However, it should be self-evident that Gooseworx wouldn't publish such a list and omit JAX, thus spoiling the entire concept that he is an NPC. Many individuals have also pointed out that Gummy Goo, the NPC from episode 2, also had an age, a family he remembered, and a whole life within the peculiar, surreal confines of the Candy Kingdom. If JAX were indeed an NPC, he would also possess these attributes, which means he should have an age and a backstory just like all the other characters seem to. He may not have as intricate a narrative as Gummy Goo did, as Kane explained to Pomni that the new NPCs for the Candy Kingdom level were designed to be particularly immersive. Yet this would only render JAX even less human and less relatable. It stands to reason that whatever origin JAX may have had as an NPC, lacking much history or a storyline, he would have merely evolved into the fundamental traits Kane programmed into him. JAX's intentions might be so nefarious that we ultimately learn he is responsible for all the abstractions occurring at the circus, while he observes from the background.
This would likely lead to him being the primary antagonist, revealing a much darker story than anyone initially anticipated.
Share your theory with me in the comments, and I will definitely read them and add the best comments to the next issue. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video here.